The Nintendo Switch 2 just got announced last week, and with that, credible leakers are saying that the console will release with a new 3D Mario game, and of course, Mario Kart 9. So in light of this, today we are diving into 5 things that Mario Kart 9 needs, starting off with a solid title. Nintendo has always been very inconsistent with their titles of Mario Karts. I mean, have a look at this. Here is every single Mario Kart. As you can see here, 4 titles are based off the console name. For example, Mario Kart 64 is based off the Nintendo 64. 3 titles have completely original names like Double Dash, Super Circuit, and Tour. And the 2 most recent titles have numbers next to their name, just like Mario Kart 7 and 8. But this begs the question, which one are they going to choose this time? Well, now, for the most part, there are 3 main names that fans are calling the next Mario Kart title. First is the most common, which is Mario Kart 9, which would make sense. We follow the 2 past releases. Another one I've heard floating around is Mario Kart Ultimate. Okay. And finally, I've actually heard people call it Mario Kart X, taken from the Roman numeral 10, but all of these are stupid. Okay, hear me out. The first 2 games in the series have names based off the console. The next 2 are completely original names. 2 after that are console based, and the final 2 are just numbers. So it's clear Nintendo works in numbers of 2. So assuming this pattern, we can rule out the names Mario Kart 9 and Mario Kart X, since that would make this 3 in a row. And let's be real, Mario Kart Switch 2 just doesn't have a ring to it. So this leaves us with an original named Mario Kart. Talking about original names, something else I've noticed about Double Dash and Super Circuit is both games use alliteration, which is where both the words start with the same sound, so Double Dash and Super Circuit. And this is what makes the name catchy and memorable. Fortnite did this to make their drop locations memorable, and whether you hate the game or not, I mean, Pleasant Park, Tilted Towers, Risky Reels, I mean, these names are literally so catchy. But now we have one issue. Our catchy name needs to be based off one thing, and it's actually the next thing I'm going to talk about, the gimmick. Every Mario Kart has something that stands out from the others. Double Dash has 2 races, 7 has gliders, and 8 had anti-gravity. And no, I'm not going to say, oh, let's add mission mode, let's add Double Dash, like everyone else says, because I think I've seen like 7 videos that just say the exact same thing. Like, that's what everyone wants, but you got to think outside the box. We need to think about it from a Nintendo standpoint. So here's my question. Why did the gimmicks from 7 and 8 work? I don't know about you, but Mario Kart 8's anti-gravity gimmick is so integrated into the tracks that sometimes you forget you're even upside down. And obviously, this is because unlike other Mario Karts, the game rotates the camera to ensure the racer always stays right side up. And as a party game, this makes it easy for everyone to play. So just like Mario Kart 8, this new title needs a gimmick that's so integrated, it feels like it's always been a thing. And while brainstorming ideas, the first thing that went through my mind was Nintendo's scrapped drill mechanic. Yes, during Mario Kart 8's development, Nintendo actually considered adding a feature where you can drill underground while racing. It was planned to be a gimmick so that any driver could use it, similarly to how any driver can go into the anti-gravity mode by driving past the gravity panel. And as a massive fan of arcade races, I really like this idea. I missed a time where Mario Kart games felt a bit more arcadey, unlike today's more professional entries. Imagine being upside down on a track and there's some off-road ahead of you, so you need to use the drill to get to the other side to continue. That definitely feels like something you'd see in Mario Kart Arcade GP, for sure. But in the mainline game, I don't know. The whole point of an arcade racer is for you to come in, put your coins in, play a few rounds, and be on your way. But for this to be a feature of a game where players will race thousands upon thousands of races, I think this might become a bit stale. It's too integrated into the game where it doesn't feel prominent enough to be a feature. Like, imagine if Double Dash took away the double races and made the main feature special items. It just wouldn't feel right, you know? So I scrapped the drill idea and I thought real hard, like really hard, about the perfect gimmick. And then it came to me. Alright, listen up. Mario Kart 7's glider feature was a massive entry into the series, but let's be honest, I think I speak for everyone where we have all tried at least once to just hold down that D-pad to fly up, to see how long we can spend gliding, just to find out you couldn't fly. So just like Apple stealing ideas from Android, let's steal an idea from Diddy Kong Racing and make it better. Flying. This is perfect. I mean, It's unique enough to feel fresh and new, but also isn't too outlandish, as we've already seen a similar mechanic like this in 7. And this flying mechanic would work wonders with zero gravity. Like, I'm thinking, you're driving along, you hit a purple fly panel, and your car transforms into a plane. And I'd like to see the gimmick feel a little bit like the game Air Race, fast-paced flying through tunnels. It's kind of like a mix between Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing, and F-Zero. 3 amazing races, and I think Mario Kart should definitely take some inspiration from this game. Okay, so we have a title and a gimmick, but unfortunately that's just not enough for me. 8 Deluxe is such a strong entry in the series. We need a reason for people to switch. So that comes to my next point. Think to yourself right now, what is the worst part of 8 Deluxe? Well, I asked you guys and I got a variety of responses. Some of you guys mentioned that the CPUs are too easy, the mechanics are too hard for beginners, Tokyo Blood. But if you were to ask me that same question, to answer it, we'd need to take a trip way back to the early years of school. The Mario Kart Wii era. Picture this, 6-year-old me comes home from a not so hard day at school, and right before my eyes, I see something beautiful. It was a brand new Wii, and of course it came with Mario Kart Wii. And I spent so long on that game. I went to school that day and I told all my friends, and he said, if you play every track on time trials, you unlock Toadette. So you best bet, little me sped home. I needed to unlock Toadette now, and I grinded that game for hours. And as I finally crossed that final finish line, flashback to now. Mario Kart 8 is so easy to get characters. What do? You collect coins. Wow, that's it. Really? I find myself accidentally unlocking stuff and then going, new car, wow, yeah. Seriously though, we need to bring back like staff time trials and star ranks, and I know they're already in the game, but they don't actually unlock anything, and I would love to see that come back. But in this new Mario Kart title, I'd love to see even more ways to unlock characters. For example, I don't know, get first place 5 times in a row online, or stay 6th place for 30 seconds. You know, stuff that just isn't collect this, win that, you know, it's boring. But when we're talking about unlocking things, there's another area of the game that could really benefit from more depth and a competitive edge. World records. Mario Kart world records across all games are currently being run by fans, with no real official Nintendo way to get a world record. But I think that the new Mario Kart should definitely show the world record for each race, including the time trial ghost for it. This will show the player base the incredible skill ceiling possible right from the get-go on the Switch 2. It might also motivate beginner speedrunners to get their name out on the official Nintendo leaderboard. And I was thinking, this would be especially great for tracks with shortcuts or ultra shortcuts, as players could watch the ghost and learn exactly how to execute them. Not to mention, this would help Nintendo devs to bug fix any game-breaking shortcuts. They'd be able to see exactly what controller inputs players have done to cause the glitch using the ghost. While this feature is cool, there is one thing we need to consider, and it's the average Mario Kart. I mean, the average Mario Kart would definitely not be able to get anywhere close to a world record, let alone being on the leaderboard. So to fix this, I suggest we have a friend list world record. Pretty much get the fastest time out of all your friends. I mean, this adds a competitive aspect to the game for everyone without being a neek at the game. So cousin Timmy over here can verse all his little 6-year-old friends, which will all be times capable by 6-year-olds. This entire vision just keeps things light-hearted for beginners, but it still offers high-level tools for the veterans chasing world records. Now, for the final segment of this video, we are going to discuss a brand new game mode concept that I've never heard anyone talk about. See, Mario Kart is notorious for having the same 5 game modes every entry, but there's one game in the series that has defied this formula: Mario Kart DS and its mission mode. Whoa. I'm not suggesting adding mission mode. It's not that simple, just hear me out. Mario Kart DS, a game from 2005, has gameplay that was made in 2005. So simply bringing mission mode to the next Mario Kart as it is from DS, it's just stupid, it's outdated. But if mission mode were to make a return, I think this is how it should be modernized. Okay, 50 players get put into a lobby together. There will be 10 rounds. and each round, players will have to compete in a randomly picked mission. For example, drive through 15 gates or hit 10 pokies with shells. And each round, the last 5 people still doing the mission get eliminated. Now, realistically, some missions would work better than others. For example, driving through gates would be really hard to implement because most players would finish the mission at the same time. And randomly eliminating half the lobby because everyone finished at the same time is not fair. So to combat this, the numbered gates can be randomly placed around the map out of order. So realistically, we could find ways to alter each mission for it to work in this format. But now, let's talk about the round system. Every round, we need about 5 players to be eliminated. So round 1 will start with 50 players, and then round 2 will be 45, all the way to round 9, where we'll have 5 players left. So in round 9, instead, we'll have 3 players eliminated to make round 10 have 2 final competitors. Oh, this is where it gets fun. And that's because round 10 will be the final showdown. This final showdown won't just be another mission, it will be a boss stage. Initially, I was just thinking both players fight the boss and whoever beats it first wins. But that's so anticlimactic. So instead, hear me out on this one, the 2 players fight the same boss together. So I'm going to give you a little demonstration of how the showdown will go. For this example, let's choose the iRock boss from DS. Both players will always start with 3 balloons, and if you've never played Balloon Battle before, the 3 balloons represent your 1, 2, 3 lives. To win this final showdown, you're gonna need to get the most hits on the boss before it gets killed. So the top screen would show yours and your opponent's hit count, so you can keep track on who's winning. But in the DS games, iRock needs to be hit 3 times in the eye before it dies. But since there are 2 players here, let's change that to 10 hits. Okay, but here is the big kicker. Friendly fire is turned on, meaning players can also hit each other. And I know what you're thinking, wouldn't people just try to eliminate each other for the win? And yeah, that makes sense if it wasn't for this rule in place. After a player loses all their lives, after a 10-second timer, they'll respawn back with all 3 of their balloons. This gives the other player a 10-second advantage to get hits on the boss. You know, 10 seconds is not too long enough to be unfair, but it is a sufficient amount of time to get maybe 1 or 2 hits before the player respawns. And oh my god, I can imagine this being so fun and chaotic. Like, imagine fighting King Bob-omb. He jumps up in the air and spawns that one item box surrounded by bombs. So the 2 players will need to fight for that item box to get hit on him. So much potential here. Alright everyone, that is my must-haves for the next Mario Kart on the Switch 2. Do you agree? And what features do you want to see in the next Mario Kart? Now go away!